Я ебаться не хотел. Мы куда приедем, везде обстрел, блядь.
Смотри.
Бля.
Soldiers of the 7th Rapid Response Corps demonstrated the destruction of an enemy sabotage and reconnaissance group that broke through to Pokrovsk. The video was posted on the Corps' official social media. The main task of the Russian forces was to accumulate manpower within the city for the further deployment of the offensive. The coordinated actions of the units of the 7th Rapid Response Corps and adjacent units of the defense forces allow for the rapid detection and destruction of enemy groups. Thanks to the work of drones, reconnaissance, and decisive actions of the soldiers, enemy infantry can be quickly detected and eliminated. The city's defenders continue to closely monitor possible enemy infiltration routes. It became known on July 28th that the 7th Rapid Response Corps would take over the defense of the city. The formation includes airborne brigades, 25, 77, 79, 81, and the 78th Airborne Assault Regiment. In addition, it is planned to create new units and regiments in the future. It is known that the 25th Airborne Brigade is already holding the line in Pokrovsk itself, as confirmed by the publications of its press service. Meanwhile, other units have been deployed to other parts of the front until recently. As of now, Pokrovsk has been completely cleared of enemy subversive groups and is under the full control of Ukrainian troops. In general, the city and its surroundings are under constant and powerful enemy pressure. The 55th and 30th separate motorized rifle brigades, as well as the 87th Rifle and 433rd Motorized Rifle regiments, are conducting offensive operations in this area. The enemy continues to try to reach the outskirts of Pokrovsk in order to further capture the city, but suffers catastrophic losses. Russia has installed anti-drone nets at the Rybachi nuclear submarine base, part of the Pacific Fleet, located in Kamchatka. The development was identified by OSINT analyst M.T. Anderson, who analyzed Maxar satellite imagery dated August 2nd. The base, situated in Krasheninnikov Bay, hosts submarines armed with Russian nuclear weapons. The researcher observed that part of the pier and a Project 949A anti-nuclear-powered cruise missile submarine, known as Oscar II under NATO classification, were covered with nets. He initially suggested that the nets might be intended either for protection against drones or for camouflage purposes. The researcher observed that part of the pier and a Project 949A anti-nuclear-powered cruise missile submarine, known as Oscar II under NATO classification, were covered with nets. He initially suggested that the nets might be intended either for protection against drones or for camouflage purposes. As previously reported, the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine obtained classified information on the Russian nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine K-555 Kanyaz Pozharsky, part of the 955A Bore A class. Meanwhile, the hot summer continues in Crimea. Smoke can be seen in the mountains near Sudak. Russian channels report that the peninsula was hit by at least 9 Storm Shadow missiles.
Я ебаться не хотел. Мы куда приедем, везде обстрел, блядь.
Смотри.
Бля. А что там за горой? Там, наверное, какая-то база, да? Там по-любому. Везде в позицию накрыли. Ебать его в рот.
Russian propagandists make fun of President Trump and his peace initiatives.
As for the residence Moscow, it is known that when Trump went to the Vatican and met with Zelensky, his aides said he was impressed by St. Peter's Basilica and apparently decided to make something similar for himself. I suggest the Russian side say that if Donald Trump agrees to Russian conditions on Ukraine, they could show him, for example, the throne room of the Winter Palace, if these conditions are very favorable, so that he in fact could see
You are dumbing down American politics while we are trying to be serious.
Austrian Colonel Marcus Reisner on President Trump's ultimatums to Putin. These statements must ultimately be implemented through tough, visible measures that can actually be reflected in measurable results. If it remains just a threat, the deadline will pass, but nothing will come of it.
And these statements must ultimately be backed by hard
visible and will actually be reflected in measurable results can be implemented. That means if it only remains a threat, the deadline passes, or there is no result, President Trump now, 6 months later, after his inauguration, is exactly in the same position as the Biden administration was back then. That means it also faces the dilemma, the Russians are not doing what I want. I can escalate the situation, but I must be aware of what counter reactions that might trigger, and that is the situation we are experiencing now. And no one can tell you how it will actually turn out, whether the Americans are ready to take this risk or not, and what consequences that will have from the Russian side.
Putin said he has nothing against meeting with Zelensky, but according to the war criminal, certain conditions must be met, and they are still a long way off. However, he expressed interest in meeting with Trump, naming the UAE as one of the possible locations.
Thank you for your meeting with Trump, and who initiated all of this?
Interest was shown from both sides. What word did he say there?
Could you clarify?
Your assistant said that she will be there next week, most likely. But where's? At least name the place.
We have many friends who are ready to help us organize an event of this kind. One of the friends is the President of the United Arab Emirates. I think we will decide, but it would be one of the suitable, quite suitable options.
And what has been done in general for you to speak?
I have already said repeatedly that I have nothing against it. In general, it is possible, but certain conditions must be created for this. And for creating such conditions, we are far from it.
A modernized Z-137 Agro-turbo light aircraft, equipped with air-to-air missiles, was spotted in the Ukrainian sky. The footage of the plane's flight was posted by local residents. The Czechoslovakian-made Z-137 civilian turboprop aircraft was converted to perform air defense missions. Its tail section was marked with a typical Army aviation insignia of 2 white transverse stripes. 2 AKU-73 pylons were mounted under the wings of the aircraft, which made it possible to use R-73 short-range air-to-air missiles. The use of R-73 missiles from non-designated aircraft is possible due to its complete autonomy, as it does not require complex integration with the radar or central radar of the aircraft. It uses an infrared guidance system to track the target. In fact, to equip any platform with this missile, it is necessary to bring power and a channel to the launcher to transmit the launch command. When the latter is used, the missile head itself captures a heat-contrasting object. The search for targets by such an aircraft can be carried out with the help of officers at the Combat Control Center, who have access to information from ground radars and can adjust the direction and altitude of the pilot's flight. Given the type of weaponry and the aircraft's ability to reach speeds of 200 to 250 kilometers per hour, the tasks of such a combat unit could include intercepting Russian attack drones and tactical reconnaissance UAVs. The use of turboprop aircraft for such tasks can significantly increase the capabilities of the Air Force, as well as unload full-fledged fighters for higher priority tasks. Earlier, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Oleksandr Syrsky, announced the introduction of light aircraft to the armed forces to counter drones. One of the most promising ways of countering Shahed drones is the use of light aircraft. We have it, and we have new projects with financial and material assistance from our foreign partners. This area will continue to develop. We are receiving modern light aircraft with modern weapons and navigation equipment, which will increase the effectiveness of countering Russian attack drones, he said. In June, Militarny reported that Ukraine had received the first light-engine electronic warfare aircraft designed to fight Shahed drones. From the other news, an F-2A fighter jet of the Japan Air Self-Defense Force crashed over the waters of the Pacific Ocean near Ibaraki Prefecture, which borders Tokyo. According to the command, there was one pilot on board, who managed to successfully eject. The ejected pilot was picked up by a UH-60J helicopter of the rescue unit from the Hayakuri Air Base and taken to the hospital. Doctors confirmed that the pilot's life is not in danger. He received the necessary treatment and is in stable condition. The fighter jet was performing a routine training flight. The cause of the incident is currently under investigation. F-2A is a Japanese multi-role fighter created in cooperation with the United States on the basis of the American F-16, but with significant design changes that make it a separate type of aircraft. F-2A aircraft in the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force are easily recognizable by their blue camouflage, which provides effective masking against the ocean surface.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.